Things are getting worse for Phillip Schofield. He's now been dropped as an ambassador for the Prince's Trust.
The charities say it's no longer appropriate to work with the This Morning presenter who last week admitted he had an affair with a young male colleague and lied to cover it up.
Despite the admission and all of the statements, we're still left with some unanswered questions, though. Questions that get louder. When did the affair start? How old was the younger man when it did start?
Did ITV bosses know about it? Did Holly know about it? Joining us now is the Sun on Sunday's show business editor, Hannah Hope. Hi, Hannah. Well, welcome back to the show. Obviously, you, among other Sun journalists, are leading the charge on this fast-developing story. Your paper, The Sun, is this morning splashing, as they say, all over the front page that defiant Holly will be back on Monday. Now, given everything that's going on, given those important questions that Rosie and I just asked, which ITV seem very reluctant to answer, if she does come back, might it be just to say goodbye? Because we're seeing today on social media, she has removed all references from ITV and This Morning from her bio. So something's going on here. Do you think she might just come back on Monday and say, it's been great, enjoy yourself, I'm off to other shows?
You're right. I mean, this indeed is a very fast-moving story. We were told yesterday that she is defiant. She wants to come back to This Morning. I know that she feels that she was lied to. And as far as she's concerned, she's worked really hard on a show for 14 years and feels let down by her co-host. Certainly, there are crisis talks happening behind the scenes at ITV and This Morning. And indeed, a lot of people, especially on social media, are noticing her Twitter and her Instagram bio, where she's saying, where she has removed mention of This Morning and ITV from her profile. I mean, certainly, I wouldn't be surprised if there was an announcement over the weekend or even next week when she is back on the sofa. Certainly, one of the issues from a brand point of view is that when you see Holly Willoughby sat on the sofa, you are instantly reminded of her 14-year reign with Philip and all the toxicity which comes with it.
What do we know? You said, look, there's crisis talks going on at This Morning and at ITV. What do we know of what's going on behind the scenes?
Well, certainly they are releasing lots of statements sort of admitting that there were malicious rumours and there were questions asked at the time in 2020, but they can't almost keep up with the amount of bombshell information that is coming out from former members of the cast, including Dr. Ranj, who has admitted that he claims that when he left the show, he reported a toxic atmosphere and claims of bullying, and also former host Eamon Holmes, who said that he also felt that there was wrongdoing behind the scenes and there were concerns with this young runner who Philip has now talked about having a relationship with. Certainly, it feels like one of the big heads of the channel, Carolyn McCall, Kevin Lygo, editor Martin Frisell, or daytime TV runner Emma Gormley could step down, or potentially one of their heads could roll.
Well, we learnt yesterday, Hannah, the Mail is claiming that ITV paid Philip's young lover off, that they gave him quite a large amount of money. We're hearing maybe £300,000 to sort of depart from This Morning and go and work on Loose Women. This was obviously to buy, or the allegation is, it was to buy his silence about this inappropriate affair. Now, if that's the case, the pressure on the chief executive of ITV, Dame Carolyn McCall, becomes intense, doesn't it? I mean, this is extreme pressure because that is shareholders' money. That's company money being used to pay someone off to keep quiet about an inappropriate affair. Her future must be uncertain, to say the least. What I'm really asking you, Hannah, is I would imagine at ITV, they have concluded somebody's got to go. You've got to relieve the pressure here. You can't go on as if nothing has happened. So do you feel that possibly Dame Carolyn McCall, possibly Martin Frisell, Kevin Lygo as well, may be on the rack, and ITV are trying to work out when to strategically announce that people are leaving because of this scandal. Do you think that's what's going to happen in the days to come?
It certainly feels that way. There is no sign that the scandal is letting up, just more information keeps getting released. You're absolutely right. It does feel that there needs to be a sacrificial lamb from the top with this scandal, but almost just to kind of show that they're taking it seriously. You're right about this huge figure as well. Since the information was released yesterday, almost 24 hours later, we have had no official comment from ITV, and silence speaks volumes, unfortunately.
Every time they're asked for comment, they just haven't given one, as far as we're aware here. In the meantime, next week, ITV executives, look, they were going to be speaking to MPs anyway about the government's sort of looking at how media is regulated and the media landscape in the UK. What kind of questions do you think the ITV executives are going to come under?
Well, the timing of this Media Act is very interesting indeed. I really hope the MPs do us proud and use their opportunity with the top figureheads of ITV to ask about safeguarding, to ask about duty of care for their work employees, and to see how they would stop something like this from happening again, and whether there has been an abuse of power, which it certainly is looking that way.
And what do you predict will happen in the next few days? I mean, we're getting used to kind of changes in the situation every 20 minutes. But there's a sort of slight feeling maybe things are calming down a little bit. But do you expect that the next big event will be Holly sitting on the sofa next Monday? Or perhaps something will unfold before that?
It's starting to feel like something could unfold before that, especially with all of the new information that is coming to light. I wouldn't be surprised if we do hear from one of the big figureheads at ITV. So far, they've said absolutely nothing, and we've seen video of them doorstep by various different news channels going about their day-to-day life. Because they haven't said anything, they're almost being hounded by some members of the media because there's a frustration that they're just sitting pretty and not saying anything. So I wonder if we will have a statement, or someone may even step down before then. And it will be interesting to see if Holly can hold her own on This Morning.
Yeah, in the meantime, Hannah, the programme's going out every day. It's got presenters, it's got producers, and a really difficult task for them when they are front page of the news to just keep going and do an extremely difficult job, live television, when the press are scrutinising every single detail. How is the show, if you just watched it in isolation, how's it actually faring?
It's really interesting, actually, because Alison Hammond and Dermot O'Leary, who are the Friday hosts, are doing an extremely good job of grinning and bearing it. But it has been noted that they aren't having any of their usual big Hollywood guests on the sofa. It seems to be more normal people, as it were, and their usual regulars doing segments. I mean, certainly if you were a big Hollywood guest in town just looking to promote your movie, you wouldn't necessarily want to go onto a controversial show like This Morning at the moment.
Let's go back to Eamon Holmes, who has been lobbing grenades at this situation for a couple of days now. He has skin in the game. He feels badly let down by Phillip Schofield, like a lot of other people. But the latest of his incendiary charges through another newspaper is that Carolyn McCall was sent an email by a very worried member of This Morning staff right at the beginning of this relationship between Phillip and the new young runner. This email apparently directly to Carolyn McCall said, "Why is this man still on air? You have something very serious to investigate here. You really do need to look into this." Neither Carolyn McCall or Kevin Lygo replied to that email. So apparently this member of staff who no longer works there sent another one saying that their lack of action here was, to quote that email, disgusting. Now, if this story is true, and ITV have not denied it, again, the pressure on Carolyn McCall, and for that matter, Kevin Lygo, having received an email like that saying, do something about this, and then not doing something, this evidence, if this email is true, I mean, this makes both of their positions untenable, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's becoming increasingly difficult for them to bury their heads in the sand and say that I didn't know, because we're actually getting proof of people sending direct emails to their accounts, pointing them in the direction of this scandal up to 3 years ago. I mean, certainly Philip has done a very thorough job with the statements he has released, saying, I lied to my YMU, my showbiz agency, I lied to my colleagues, I lied to ITV, and ITV have put all of the blame towards Philip. But there's actually proof now that more people at the top of ITV were told about this scandal and ignored it.
Last question, Hannah. Any sensational revelations in tomorrow's Sun? What do we have to look forward to? But remember, careless talk costs exclusives.
Well, there is obviously, we've been covering this story incredibly closely, and there will be more announcements and exclusives in the paper tomorrow. So all I can say is definitely pick up the Sun to read the exclusives. I can't reveal any more at this point.
Hannah, thank you so much. Hannah Hope, the Sun on Sunday showbiz editor. Really appreciate your time again this week because, Kev, look, this story, on Monday it was our top lead item. That sort of made sense. And then since then, if ITV had wanted to try and get a handle on this, they have spectacularly failed to do so.
That's the extraordinary thing. As I said yesterday, ITV has been like a fox caught in the headlights on this. It seems to be paralysed by this ongoing drama. And I think one of the questions being asked about this company and the way it's run will be, how good or how bad is this company at crisis management? It's in a crisis and it's doing nothing.
They've got over crises before, though, haven't they, ITV?
Well, all television companies have crises.
But particularly with ITV, when look what's happened to Love Island. That starts again next week. There's been, a huge mounting set of criticism about how they've run that show. And that still goes back to air on Monday. Sure.
I mean, all storms, all explosive dramas end in the end. I mean, this week's gripping story is next week's fish and chip wrappers. So, yes, it will go in the end. But I think that ITV, it's incumbent upon them to do something. To sack some people, put Holly on the sofa and say, you can put up with her, we're not getting rid of her. Just something definite so that the company looks as if it's in control, because right now it doesn't. So Monday we're expecting Holly to be back on the sofa, so according to the front page of The Sun today, and then later on in the week, ITV executives coming in to be quizzed by MPs, so lots more to come.